that's one reason why we're not deciding on nighttime presence, because at that point, I'm sure the security would love to see it, but that's one thing. And then to follow up to your first question, which I think was a question that you asked us previously, with another one. And I did research and I did speak to the team, and I'm reading verbatim here their email. 92% of the windows, right, are going to be solo bearing 90. And I'm going to quote here, it's not an archival museum level UV blocking, but it's still very, very good. So this is something that's, been taken into consideration. Another thing that they mentioned, and just because on another project with Old Hickory, Mayor O'Connell has been emphasizing, green buildings, and they have now a certain criteria that every single building has to meet, especially for, energy efficient windows. So that's something that inherently with all future buildings coming in has to be, met. So that's not a concern that I have, at least, but I think they're addressing your question there.
Just a side question to that.
Yeah.
In that picture, there's a lot of linear
Can we go back?
effect. What is that, and will that affect the lighting hitting the piece? The first picture,
Go back?
is that the same space?
Yes, it is, yes.
You see all that linear?
Are you referring to this one here?
Yes. What is that on the left?
On the left here?
Yes.
From what it's just a wall, and I'm
Oh,
not sure.
it's a closed wall. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a window.
No, this
with
is not a
blinds.
window. No, you have it's literally gonna be sandwiched. So it's like a corridor coming in, very wide though.
Okay.
So you're gonna have light coming in from the front and through the back, because as you walk in through this way, and I wish I had an overhead now, this is a courtyard.
Oh.
And then it kind of opens up.
Gotcha.
So you're gonna have light coming in from both directions.
So is that like a sculpted wall?
This here, I'm not sure what they're gonna use. I think that's just a rendering that they provided. I'm not sure what exactly they're gonna do
And if
there.
it's clean, what's stopping having art there?
I don't know, but I can only, let's put it this way. With this particular project, they specifically gave me certain locations. Other locations they did not want me to touch. Or even, because there was other areas of opportunity when they first gave me drawings. And of course, I'm like, ooh, candy store. But after they're like, no, this is the areas that we're gonna let you use. And that's the best way, we were able to identify certain locations.
And one more weird question.
Yeah.
One thing about art, especially, we spoke of another artist who uses a lot of textiles and natural materials. Humidity control. Because a lot of humidity and what have you can destroy natural materials over time. Are they addressing that? And because building with no windows, they've got to control every aspect of the air conditioning.
That I would assume that maybe they do already have something in plan in terms of, I'm not an HVAC, expert, but knowing and hoping government buildings, they're always cold and dry. So that would be my assumption, but I can follow up with that question if that's something that's concerned. However, I will say that I would be discouraged to put some sort of cloth up there. And I think the type of call that we're looking for, and artists, which I think part of it is that going to be in the selection panel, we're going to hopefully address those questions there. And, they'll be able to produce something that won't require. Because one thing is maintenance is something that is very, very high and, a priority for us, not just immediately, like long-term. So that's something that's definitely going to be addressed during the selection.
Well, I assume that's why you're not asking for anything electrical.
Correct. That's another major reason why. Yeah.
So will that be all mentioned in the call for artists?
Yes, there's going to be, I think we have a really good opportunity in the call itself and during the selection and asking certain questions to kind of not dictate what the art is going to be made of, but at least lead the artist in the right direction and have them think of, how can I, what would I? And, even then, which another opportunity, right? Another checks and balances is like, we're gonna bring back the artist, the concept for approval to this body. So you're gonna be able to check that. And if you see something like that, you'll be able to raise that flag, say, hey, you know what? This is something that we think is gonna be long-term, that is gonna suffice. So you'll be able to address that right away then. So that's just another, level that we're gonna be able to come here to really make sure that the project ends up for a really good success.
Great, great. Well, I asked because the best time to ask is before they start, because otherwise it's Band-Aids.
Yeah, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
All right, last question for
Yeah,
you.
no, bring it on.
Process, right? So you guys put the RFP out there,
Correct.
right? Put the call to artists out. Goes out, artists apply, you get a month or whatever to apply. It comes back to you all, the staff, to review, provide comment, put together an early selection of artists from that, and then bring it back to this meeting, or how does it?
So sorry, and this may be something I should have outlined in this call or in this presentation. So yes, leading up to after we received, so we have the call, we receive the data, we then check for eligibility. That's one thing that we'll do internally. After that, we find that to make sure that all our artists are eligible, or artist teams. We will then hand that over to our selection panel, okay? The selection panel will then, at this point, we're gonna be building it, but the selection panel will then go through there and score. That's gonna be our first round. Then the panel will meet again in person and then have the discussions on which ones, and then create a short list from there. After that short list, we're gonna come back again and then review the final artist. And then actually, and in between there, we will be bringing back the names of the artists and teams to this body before it goes to the last round. And then after the last round, we will bring him back again for you to come and approve.
I understand. Thank you.
Attilio,
Yes,
and just to clarify, and it may have been on the slide, but that you are putting out a request for qualifications versus a request for proposals?
correct, that's right. This is not proposals, this is qualifications only, yes.
Do we get to see that eligibility or qualifications that you guys are putting out there?
Yeah, I
Like,
could
does
send
the
you,
committee?
yes.
Okay.
I don't have that on the slide, but it's definitely, essentially, it's anybody within the United States.
Oh, okay. No, like background of years, experience.
Well, there's 2 years, I mean, those,
Okay.
and then
Gotcha.
it's 2 years either artist or 2 years of exhibition.
Gotcha.
Then there's also, you can't be a Metro employee.
Gotcha.
That's another thing. Another major thing is you can't be currently contracted with Metro in terms of having another art project with us. So you can't have 2 contracts.
Thrive related.
Any contract with Metro Arts.
Is it any contract with Metro Arts or any contract with Metro?
For my understanding, Metro Arts, but I need to clarify that with legal. There's some debate.
Yeah, there's some gray areas. so
Because
we
in the
can-
guidelines, it specifically says Metro Arts.
Thank you.
Thanks.
First, I want to thank y'all for your questions. Don't ever apologize. We are here, but y'all are here subject matter experts. Like this is exactly what we need, is the input, the questions. So these are all, this is what helps us form everything together. Thinking about the lighting and the things you brought up, I think a huge advantage to this project is what Attilio has said, is being in on the front end rather than the back end. In my experience with public art, it's usually we're fitting in on the back end, and this is such a great opportunity to be there on the front end. On the RFQ, to answer, I think kind of what Evan was asking a little bit, is we're gonna make sure that the local community does see this,
Oh,
get
definitely.
it, and all of those good things. Okay, great. And, okay, that's all I wanted to clarify with, was that, again, we met about this 2 weeks ago, I had a great long meeting, and Leslie and Attilio and Ashley and I think that everything's rolling around very, very well. And Attilio, the intention you're putting behind this is so appreciated, and I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you. I also want to note, piggyback about what you're saying, like, please answer or ask as many questions, even if they're obvious. I think what helps in asking questions is that, the public that are watching or not here, they have those similar questions and they're like, well, they didn't ask us. It's like, I'm more than happy to answer that, or we are, because it just opens up for more transparency. So,
Thank you.
yep, thank you.
And the selection.
You'll
pa-
regret that statement, but yeah, okay.
And RFQ posting for that, when are you planning on having the RFQ ready and to post?
I've actually been working on it for a good while now. I'm hoping I could release it this May, so in a couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you.
And
You
if you're-
said install in,
We are in a very tight window right
yeah,
now.
you're in a very tight window.
So, yes, this is something that as soon as we send out, the dominoes are gonna fall. And we have to, stay on top of that. So we're gonna be busy for the next 2 years.
It's like, okay,
Yeah,
you
thank
got this.
Yeah,
And as the Public Art Committee, once we have this vote, it will move to Full Arts Commission on the 30th for full approval. So then Attilio and the team can really move forward with it. So just want to make that important note of, we do meet on the 30th and we want to make sure we get this in there.
thank you.
Any other questions for Attilio before I entertain a motion? Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Nashville Youth Campus for Empowerment Public Art Project of an interior wall-mounted artwork with an artist budget of $400,000 and an open call for artists.
I recommend that we accept this proposal or this motion call. Oh,
Give me a cheat sheet there.
all of that. I motion that we approve the National Youth Campus for Empowerment Public Art Project of an interior wall-mounted artwork with an artist's budget of $400,000 and open call for artists.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Any abstaining? The motion is approved. Thank you, Attilio.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, moving on into action items 2 and 3. The 2 is the Lending Library MOU, which is the Memorandum of Understanding with the Nashville Public Library. And the number 3 is Arthur Avenue Public Art Memo of Understanding with NDOT, National Department of Transportation. Both of those are being deferred to May meeting. We are working with legal to get the MOUs done, so that is where we are with that. Okay? And then Ann Leslie has an update, action item, for the Arthur Avenue Public Art Final Design.
Thank you, Public Art Committee. Today, I am delighted to bring to you the final design for the Arthur Avenue Public Art lighting that we have been working on for several years now. It's really exciting as we are expecting installation to start in the coming months and a dedication following that. So Jesse, if you'll go to the slide. So for some of you, this is a new project. Commissioner Brown, for others, you all have been part of the conversations for some time. This started as an NEA grant project. The vision of neighborhood activist Simone Boyd, who reached out to Metro Arts. We applied for and were successful in receiving a $75,000 grant for public art lighting at this location. Nashville Department of Transportation and Project Return joined us in this effort. Since then, the Tennessee Department of Transportation, who owns the bridge, completed some very significant repairs and Now, we have more recently, in November, we added to the budget. We now have an artist budget of $500,000. And additionally, we have site preparation and project management funding coming from both Metro Arts and NDOT. And so this is a project that, when completed, will become part of our public art collection. You see some site photos there on the right. So it is a very large area underneath Interstate 65 there at Arthur Avenue in North Nashville. Next slide. Unfortunately, in this room, and should we turn off the lights maybe so they can see better? The final design for Arthur Avenue, amazingly, is very true to the original concept that was approved back in October of 2023. The artist knew that the lighting was the priority for the neighborhood. And so you see that dynamic lighting, LED lighting, in both the original concept on the left and the final design on the right. What has changed is related to some benches that were part of the original concept, as well as the treatment of the walls, the T-dot walls along either side. The artist's original design had more of a mural with a light background on those walls. And coming at this as the maintenance person for the Metro Public Art Collection, I had some concerns about that, particularly because it is such a large wall space, and if it became part of the artwork, that would become part of our responsibility. Whereas right now, that space would be an NDOT or a TDOT concern as far as maintenance and any repainting that might be necessary. For the benches, certainly a lovely addition to the concept, but then there's just very limited space for benches at this location. From the sidewalk, the abutment starts to slope at approximately a 45-degree angle. And so there would be a very limited space for that bench, and the artist's design had that bench as part of the T-dot space on that sloped area. So for maintenance reasons, as well as just the site constraints, we urged the artist to change the design in such a way, and that would remove those elements. But then the good thing is that allowed a larger budget to go into the lighting. So we did end up incorporating paint as a major component of this design through the an approval process that we do with the Tennessee Department of Transportation. We ask what color options there might be for that vertical wall space above the slanted abutment, and also the I-beams. And if you remember from the earlier photos, those I-beams are a bright green, and that really didn't fit the artist's vision and overall concept. And we were allowed to look at a federally, approved transportation, color palette for paint, and among those was a really beautiful, bold blue color that fit the artist's design very well. And so that is what we are proposing for the vertical sidewalls as well as the I-beams. So the design has remained true. Go to the next slide. So, and this just the narrative concept that I wanted to share with you all for that artist Alex Braden wrote. The artist has titled this work "Be as Water." It's a multimedia work of art consisting primarily of a dynamic canopy of LED light referencing the nature and movement of water as an homage to the resilience of the North Nashville community neighboring the Arthur Avenue underpass. The thousands of programmed lights are set against a deep, dramatic, and reverent blue background. With this work, Braden intends to pay respect to the community, the elders, the lifelong residents who generously shared their stories with him. This collaborative process results in a placekeeping work of art, one that directly engages those who have lived in a place for generations while honoring their stories and culture of that place. Ultimately, Be As Water seeks to transform the long-neglected Arthur Avenue underpass into a creatively lit, multi-sensory, and artistically immersive space of reflection, celebration, and hope. If you go to the next slide. So the staff recommendation is approval of artist Alex Braden's final design for Arthur Avenue Public Art Lighting Project. Are there any questions? And you can probably turn the lights back on, Atilia.
Thank you, Ann Leslie. As you said, this has been a multi-year project, and the work that has gone into this is extraordinary, and the flexibility that has gone along with this is also extraordinary. So thank you so much, and I'll open this up to questions and discussions.
Great job. Looks amazing.
Thank you.
Also, a great job on getting more money, right? Keep flowing it in. So that is awesome to see. And that is always a hard thing to do. So amazing job on that. But no questions. Amazing project. Looking forward to seeing it. I drive past this all the time. So looking forward to seeing the change in the neighborhood that happens with this installation project.
So I bet you recognize, yes, better
did.
light has been needed there for some time.
1,000%. I actually, yeah, so great job.
I just wanted to comment, just the other day, I don't go that way often these days, but there's a friend of mine who has some investments on Buchanan Street, but lives in New York, and I was going to brag and show the new artwork on Arthur Bridge.
Not yet, very soon.
And we were a little confused, but anyway, I'm so glad to say I'm going to share this picture, if I may. I think it's going to be a wonderful addition, and I know this is a long time coming. You worked hard, and thank you for all of your assistance.
Thank you. Well, many people have worked on this for many years. So yes, I know we are very pleased and proud to be able to finally deliver this to the community.
Thank you. I just wanted to say again, thank you. This looks really good. I think this is going to be an amazing addition to the neighborhood. I also drive through there, and to have it illuminated, I think will be special and create a mood. I wanted to ask, what is the completion date? You may have mentioned this, but I didn't write it down, and I'm just wondering when can we drive through and expect to see it?
Very good question. And I almost put a slide about next steps, but yeah, let me share those with you. So because this is a TDOT bridge, the bridge itself, anything touching the bridge has to go through a multi-step approval process. And we, as Metro Arts, don't work directly with them. You know, we have our own transportation department who has been such a valuable partner on this project. And so we work with NDOT, and there will actually be a license agreement, much like we have with Tennessee Department of Transportation for Sticks at the KVB roundabout. We go through this license agreement, and we'll have a lease for this project. So once we are able to provide the stamped drawings, what the artist is working on right now, those will be reviewed by our engineers, and then they'll go to NDOT and TDOT. And so that will kind of be that final review process on the Tennessee Department of Transportation end, and with the okay, then they will actually start the paperwork, and then it actually comes back to Metro because it requires Metro Council approval. So we have a few different steps, but we're looking at approximately June now. Looks like it might be the installation date and then a dedication shortly following that.
Thank you.
Did you say how long it would take? So how long it would take from install to completion?
No, I did not say that. And so we have got several different, vendors who are doing site work. So I mentioned the painting. We also have that electrical kind of infrastructure that's coming in to support the artwork, as well as sidewalk repairs. So we're looking at least 2 months of that site work, and then the 1 week plus of the actual artwork installation.
Still a beautiful time in Nashville. Right. Okay.
Thank y'all. Thank you so much, Ann Leslie. And I understand that weather permitting, artist is coming in for a site visit next Thursday or so, somewhere around there.
Yes, and we are meeting with community members, the council of elders who served as the selection panel. So yes, there will be that kind of community meeting to keep everybody up to date, ask questions, talk about things like traffic and how the installation and the site work is going to impact the neighborhood. So yes, we're going to have that meeting next week.
Thank you. I think it's important that for everybody to know that the community continues to be involved with this project, as it is a community-driven project. So the feedback from the beginning all the way through is considered and incorporated. So I just wanted to, and thank you for all your very hard work. And at this point, if there's no more question and discussion, I would like to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve artist Alec Braden's final design for Arthur Avenue Public Art Lighting Project.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
No. Any abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ann Leslie. Okay, that is all for our action items today. So we're going to move into E, project discussion and updates. So on that, we have our project so included in your packet is our Public Art April 2025 committee report. And that will run through several of the, I think everything we have here. Arthur, Luby. Oh yes, everything. Strobel, Old Hickory, Bordeaux, and collections management. Are there any updates from the staff on any of these projects that you'd like to share now?
Yes. Good morning. Probably want to go to the next slide. Yeah. Thank you, Jesse. So just a quick update. We are nearly complete with the wall mural. We currently have our team of installers out there prepping the wall. This is just a visual showing Charmin and Alicia, but our artist team, they are kind of doing the finishing touches. And I do believe this was during our content capture, which we hope to present that to you all in coming weeks. So we do appreciate the IT media team for helping us with that. That is the face of one of the figures that will be on the wall. And next slide. So and that's just more images there kind of showing you the panels. I think it was 84 in total. Alicia started the process a little, I would say mid-December, and she finished up probably toward the 1st of March. So she really took her time and invested in the process, and a majority of the work was her. She had some artist assistants, but she really pushed through this thing. That is a lot of work. If you're familiar with the wall at the Luby Community Center, that is a large scale. So it will cover the majority of that wall. And then 8 feet below, we do plan to, we will tie in some more colors and paint that bottom portion just to kind of give it some beautification in that area. And so the span of installation, I would say, is going to take our install team about 3 weeks. Again, they're prepping the wall, trying to like smooth it out, make sure that the surface is nice and clean and seamless. And then following that, they'll begin to adhere those panels, which are the cloths, onto the wall and just kind of take their time doing that and getting their flow together. And then it's going to take a lot of Nova Gel to cover those panels because we want them to stick and be there for as long as the community center is there. So, yeah, that's going to take place, and we hope to be finished with the installation in mid-May. And then following that, we will dedicate, and we will definitely give you all some updates on that. And I wanted to share, we are excited that we have a title now for this mural, and after long consideration, the artist team, they decided to name this They Fought with Words, Leaders, Lawyers, and Educators. And I'll read a little bit of how they determined that. It says, a mural to those who used law, voice, and strategy as weapons for good. Justice won not with arms, but with minds and conviction. Their eloquence was resistance. Their strategy was power. The legacy of light in the face of oppression, honoring those who dared to envision a freer tomorrow. And I think that, yeah, and so that's just more of the visuals there of our acceptance. And thank you so much to Ann Leslie for doing the collection, the conditional assessment and acceptance for the project. So thank you for that. Y'all have any questions?
Really looking forward to this one. Again, I'm over there all the time, so I love this this mural. And what is the material that, like, what is this cloth?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
So it is, it's called Polytab. I think that's the actual name from it. It derives from, or it started in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a quicker process once you do like the hard outlines on the grids of the Polytab. You can just simply kind of go through those and paint, and so it's a very straightforward process, and it's very, very quick, especially if you know, depending on your scale of the project. But it's called Polytab, or AKA mural cloth. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, I too am so excited about this project. This is, so Luby is a participatory budgeting project. And so it's a partnership between the artist and Girls Rock, right? Yes, Creative Girls Rock. So I think that the statement and the title is so appropriate for past and present, and will inspire all of us and everybody that, you know, is going there. And you said that my only question was, I think Carlton had brought this up a few months ago, so the 8 feet or so on the bottom will be painted to try to discourage any kind, yeah, gotcha. So, and it will work with the Polytab.
It is. It's going to tie into that. We got the concurrence from Parks yesterday on kind of the paint choice that we're going to do, and yeah. It's gonna, yeah, I'm happy to do the entire wall. Yeah, it's gonna look good.
Yeah. And with Polytab, that's this, the John Lewis mural that's downtown,
Yeah.
that's on Polytab.
Gotcha.
So
what I was
that's,
thinking.
yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of like what that is. And with Luby will not be there in the same, I mean, we don't know how long it will be there, but at some point, that will be rebuilt. And so that's another reason for Polytab, so it's not going directly on the wall.
Gotcha. And so this is coming from Clarksville Highway or Metro Center? Which side of the Luby?
Right, I still call it Metro Center too, but
Yeah.
Rosa, so
It's
Rosa
Metro
Parks is honestly either way you're coming, but if you're going away from Ted Rose and the Bordeaux Triangle, if you go
Right.
towards that, so it's
Gotcha.
right across from the post office.
Gotcha. So Clarksville Highway.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Well, it looks great, and I know it's going to be fantastic. I just wondered, again, I was mentioning, I kind of trying to remember the sidewalk distance to the parking lot start, but there's no room for any kind of planters or maybe greenery of any kind?
And I remember you asking that question. That would require, yes, so the sidewalk is directly where the ground meets on the wall. And so that probably would impede on the sidewalk because I think the sidewalk it's got a little bit of room there. But I think for ADA purposes, that would require so much coordination.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we could potentially see maybe in the future. I would love to get something in there at some point, but we would just have to go through the steps to make sure that we have the approval from ADA and parks. And so that would be, yeah, we don't want to put anything there that would potentially be in the way or, cause, yeah. But no, I haven't forgot that.
Okay.
I have not forgot that.
All right.
Thank you. So continued updates on Strobel House and Old Hickory Community Center and Bordeaux Gateway. We can read through these, and is there anyone that wants to speak on any of this? I know Omari's been doing a good bit of work down at Strobel House, finishing up things, and so I just wanted to check and see if y'all want to speak. Jesse, you want to speak to that?
There's not a lot to add. We will be, what Ann Leslie did with Arthur Avenue project, we'll be doing with you soon, bringing the final, drawings for approval. So we're just in that stamp drawing with the engineer to make sure everything's safe and all the longevity, all that kind of stuff before we bring it to you. So that should be coming soon. Hopefully our next meeting.
Thank you so much. And Attilio, your Old Hickory Community Center.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
So actually, we are ahead of schedule with the art project as it is. We're close to completing fabrication, and we are in talks of installing in November 2025. And the community center is planning to open January 26th. So once we have more details, obviously we'll bring this back to Commission and PAC for dedication. But I'm happy to announce that, yeah, we are ahead of schedule. Everything looks great. I'm really excited about it, how smooth it's been. Thank you.
Thank you. That's been a long project coming too, so thank you. And then Bordeaux Gateway, any updates on that?
Yeah, so just kind of like to, per what you're seeing there, we are in the process of drafting the excess land application that will need to get the approval of the city legislation. Also, it will need to get the approval of, we would like you all to see that as well, and then it would then go to commission. And so that is kind of the start, kind of like what Ann Leslie mentioned about Arthur Avenue. That is going to be required as part of this project because it is on TDOT's property, that triangular grassland that you see. And then once we get that kind of steered, we definitely want to go back to the artists and have them meet with the community just to get some more insight and feedback on the historical context of Bordeaux. Let them take that with them so they can kind of place that into their proposals, which we plan to do a request for that very soon. But this is kind of like what we want to really kick off first. And once we get some motion with this, then we'll go back to the artists and the community once more. And then we anticipate that panelist review and final selection will be later on this year. Yeah.
And this is the second participatory budgeting project, right? This is also participatory budgeting.
Thank you for mentioning that. That
So,
is, yes.
You got
yes,
partners
yes.
with
That's
the
right.
city and the NDOT and TDOT and
That's
all
right.
the things coming together. So I don't envy you, and I also really, really appreciate all the work that goes into this because that's a lot of, just a lot of coordination, and thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm just curious, there is just a whole groups of developers on the riverfront. And is that any consideration or thought or working with them or just?
And
let
so
this
when
be
you
independent?
say riverfront, are we talking downtown?
No, along the riverfront.
Okay,
Yeah,
Clarksville
there are a
Highway.
lot of plans to develop those areas with apartments and condos and.
No, so I would say the scope of this project, it is particularly going to be at that triangle. Yeah, it doesn't extend, that is the scope. So the artwork will be within that triangle where the current gateway sign is. Yeah, it doesn't extend beyond that.
Is there any future consideration to work with these developers and maybe expand something that, have sort of a unity project? Not this project, but future projects.
It could be. I think that's something that would probably need to be discussed with council members and kind of see who the developers are. Because I'm not too familiar with that. So that's something we can kind of start the conversation just to see what direction they're going in and all what they want to do. That's something that we won't incorporate into this project, but certainly we're open to any partnerships in the future that extends beyond that triangle. Because as we know, Bordeaux, the limits are, they go almost to Luby, so.
Well, it's a new frontier, so to speak.
That's right.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
And on the Bordeaux project, so participatory budgeting, that was 3 years ago, was it 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago, when at that point Mayor Cooper's administration sent out kind of a call to communities asking what they wanted in their community. And this and Luby is what came out of that under the past administration. So in these projects, we're closing those out and then thinking about what you're talking about, like expanding the scope. I think that, of course, any metro building that's coming up, we can percent funds there. But I do suggest like talking to your councilman or talking to council about what is already being planned. And then we, of course, have a whole developer's guidebook that works, that we encourage developers to work with us. And so if there's anyone that that we can send the developer's guidebook to, that's something I think is a really good resource that this department has come up with. So we can talk about that continued. And then, of course, with East Bank and everything else, we've got all that going on. So that will be more projects to come. But definitely, I think utilizing the developer's workbook or resource is something that it's not out in the community as much as we probably need it to be. And we can start pushing that out a little bit more, just so developers know what is available to them.
What about that bridge that they've been talking about for a long time that's going from Metro Center over to Bordeaux? Yeah.
I'd like to know about that too.
I would like to not know. Leave
Means
it
more
alone.
people, Evan, I know. It's like,
Leave it
but no, I
alone.
The
really, I
connecting
don't.
downtown,
Yeah, the
yeah.
connector downtown, I'm not sure where
I
that
know,
stands.
but it's coming.
It's, I'd say that'd be an NDOT call, maybe? Probably an NDOT call, because no, that's been on the books for, forever, like at least a decade. And no, I have no clue. So. I do too. I keep hearing about it, and then it's not
The
there.
land is clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the land's clear.
The land is clear.
But no, we don't have any attachments to that one quite yet. So,
I do look forward to seeing how much money you're gonna get with this participatory and Leslie and the whole nine, so,
just for, it's my understanding, participatory budgeting, that program is over. Is that correct? I think. I don't think that, right? The administration's not continuing that. So these will be the last two. But then percent funds, obviously, will fund everything else that comes down the pipe. But I'm super excited about Bordeaux. So, okay. Any other questions? I just want to thank you all so much for all your staff work. And then we need to touch on, is there something else? We need to talk about the hiring update. But I just want to make sure if there's any other staff information that we need to know about, or do y'all need any approvals, anything? Great, okay. So Metro Arts hiring update. Ashley, do you want to talk about that in terms of where we are, and then I can speak to the ETBs?
Yeah, so great to be with you all again. And so brief update on what I shared last month. You know that we have a couple key vacancies. We've made really exciting progress on our finance position that we have open, which will add a lot of capacity to the team here. So we are moving forward with a candidate that we've conditionally made an offer to, and she's conditionally accepted. And so hoping to have that position filled as early as May. And so I want to thank Ann Leslie participated in the interview process, and so definitely made sure to talk all about public art and some of the roles and responsibilities that this position will have for the work that you all do here. And so very excited about that. Hopefully at the next meeting you'll get to meet this person. And so another key vacancy that we've had is our public information manager, so somebody to really lead on public communications, public relations, managing media and such. We have 105 names to sort through of candidates that have applied for that job. And so hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have a update on progress that we're making there, but we just received those names this week. And so the next couple of weeks we'll be going through those and beginning the process for that. And the public art manager will be the third position that we move on to after these two positions. And we've got some updates about the executive director search, which I'll ask Chair West to speak to.
Thank you, Ashley. So yes, finance, thank you. And moving along with PIO and then public arts manager. Ashley and I met with Director Hall last Friday, and I am so very grateful to Ashley. Thank you so much. After lots of discussion, the workflow is going to, basically what we're doing is Director Hall will come to our June commission meeting, and the search for a permanent executive director will begin in July, and closing that out November, December. This meets the workflow with the entire agency, and Ashley will be with us through that time. And also there will be overlap between Ashley and the new executive director. So that information transfers over, there's not a gap, and the consistency and stabilization continues. So that is our current plan, that the search will begin in July. And if you all have networks, places that you would like to see the job posted or have any candidates in mind, please send those over to Lisa Mason at HR, I believe, or you can send them to me and I can send them over. And in the meantime, I can't say enough how grateful I am to interim executive director Batchelder. Just with all the things, thank you. So that is where we are. And with that, any new business, old business that we need to discuss? No? Okay. Well, with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you, everyone. Oh, sorry. The next Public Art Committee meeting is May 15th in this room, I assume, or, well, here at MSC. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good, blessed weekend, and see you next month.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.